There we go. Welcome to this playtest of Writer's Room, which is a hack of Microscope that I have thrown together. At this point, I'm not sure if it's still a hack of Microscope or if but we'll see. Yeah, so this is a game. I've put this together specifically for creating a fictional TV show or TV series, depending on what language you prefer or variant of English. So we're, that's what we're doing. This is similar in structure to Microscope. Instead of eras, we have episodes. Within the episodes, we have scenes, and the scenes can have some details added to them, plot beats and other things. I'll go through this a bit more in detail later. We will not be acting out the scenes the way you usually do in Microscope, but we're the writers. We're not the actors. That's the high level part of it. We'll be using some safety tools. I have put lines and veils on the tab there. I think, I'm not sure if these are, you've added things there, or otherwise these are old ones. You added them. Yeah, cool. So we have lines on harm to children, sexual assault, violence, and coercion, torture by PCs, pandemics, bullying, starvation, and cannibalism, and we have veils on sexual content and suicide. That all sounds good to me. We'll be using the X card, the open door policy, the gauntlet, open heart code of conduct, and yeah, I'm still not used to the name change. And we'll take breaks roughly on the hour. So that's all sorted. You all know all of this, but it's still good to mention that it's out there. Cool. So in this game, we will first do some general kibitzing about the big part of the show, like the general thrust of the show. The thing that I have already decided, I'll wait for Alan to come back. The thing I've already decided is that this is a Shadowrun show, but that's like the very loose brief is that it's going to be set in the Shadowrun universe. We can make changes. We don't have to be strict about timelines or anything, because I don't know all that stuff. It doesn't have to be about Shadowrunners. It can be about something else, but it should be recognizably in the Shadowrun universe. That's the only hard limit on what we're doing. So we'll talk that through before we get into regular play. Then when we play, we'll take turns. Instead of the way of taking turns that we have in regular Microscope, where one person picks a theme and then everyone plays to that theme. Instead of that, we'll just be going around taking turns. I feel like that works well for this. We have a bit more structure and a bit more restrictions, which means that I don't think we need the setting up themes in the same way as you may need for standard Microscope to get a bit more keeping things together. During your turn, you'll pick one of three things. I have loosely labeled these with roles from the writer's room, but that's from an actual writer's room. This is from my very vague understanding of how these things work and looking things up on Wikipedia. So take this with a huge grain of salt. But they're basically looking at things at different levels. The first is to develop the series as a whole or the season. This will be the first season of the show. So at this point, these things are kind of synonymous, but we can think of them separately. Like the series overview, that's everything. If there were multiple seasons of this, these things would remain true, while the season can focus on some more specific things or concern a specific plot arc or something like that. So when you're developing of the showrunner, you're like looking at the big picture. So you can write or edit the synopsis for the season, like the short summary of what the plot or themes or whatever are for the season. You can add those specifically in the themes and plot arcs entries. You can write out some core conflicts, like if this were the first season of Buffy, it would be like Buffy versus the Master could be one of the core conflicts, or Buffy and Giles having different opinions on what the Slayer's role is and that sort of thing. Recurring motifs, these are usually things that show up as we start working on the show. Theme is something explicitly stated, like liberty versus safety, or AI could be a theme, or anything like that. A motif is an image or a quote or a musical motif that shows up again and again and takes on meaning based on the connotations around it. So it may not have meaning in itself, but it acquires meaning because it's used in a certain way from time to time. And you can change or add to the series overview. Like if you want to change something add something to the series as a whole. Like I said, that's not a huge difference here between the series and the season when we're just doing one season. You can also, the second role is the role of a producer, and producer, from what I understand in a writer's room, is more like you're a senior writer. It's not like, and this means you have input on different things and that sort of thing. Anyway, for this, you develop an episode. So you pick one of the episodes. I've limited us to 5 episodes. That worked out fairly well in the first playtest for this length of game. And that means you can add one or more of the things that are general for that episode. You can give the episode a title. You can write a synopsis for the episode. You can add some themes or plot threads. These can be the same or different from the themes for the series or the season, or so they can be like more specific things or things that aren't present there, but that you want to add to that specific episode. And these you can put in the themes before we start actually writing scenes, or they can show up later when we discover that, oh, here we have a theme. Let's put that up there and see if we can push that a bit more. Same thing with conflicts. You can put in guest casts, guest stars, like actors that show up or characters that show up just for that episode. And you can write scene summaries. And the scene summary is a synopsis for a specific scene. Like in this scene, we have if we're doing Shadowrunners, in this scene, we're doing the run on the headquarters of the big bad evil corporation. Ares is one of them, if I recall correctly. So that could be like the high level scene summary. And finally, as the staff writer, the noob on the staff, someone who is just you get tasked with you can develop a scene. And when you do that, you add some stuff. You pick one of the scenes in one of the episodes and add some stuff to that. For all 3 of these, you don't have to do all of these things. You just pick 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 that you feel like, oh, I want to do these things. And you can do the same thing multiple times for a scene, for example. If you develop a scene, you can add plot beats. So you can add like, yeah, I want this thing to happen and this thing to happen. So the plot beats are like specific events within that scene. You can add some lines of dialogue. You can add some visuals. You can do a needle drop, a song that plays during that scene, if you have something that you want to do like that. One of the things that I haven't mentioned that we should also talk about is casting actors. We'll talk about this when we talk about the series in general. But one of the things you can do is cast an actor. There's a tab for the cast. And I have divided them into main cast, supporting cast, and guests. This isn't like a strict easiest. It's an easy way to categorize if you want someone to be like, this is one of the central characters, or someone who shows up a lot but isn't like super important, or someone who's just there for 1 or 2 episodes. So now I have talked a lot. Is this reasonably clear? Do you have any questions so far?
I feel a lot of the questions might come up in the specific iteration of play.
Yeah.
What do I get to choose here?
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. So let's talk a bit about Shadowrun in general before we go into like developing the series. I've only played Shadowrun a few times, and it was a very long time ago. I own a couple of editions of the game in print, and I've always liked the setting, and also I have to admit the crunchy bits also appeal to me, that side of gaming. But it's not a game I've played a lot. I enjoy the mixing fantasy and cyberpunk. I think that's fun. And it adds a lot of it gives some more opportunities for interesting visuals, and just combinations of things is just fun over just having one or the other. I'm not super hip to the setting. I don't know all the details or all the different nations that Alan has on his nice map there. I just know that, the US broke up in some ways. I think there was some Native American magic was part
Ghost
of it.
Towns.
Yeah, the ghost towns. Yeah. So I have a very vague idea about the setting. So I'm not going to. I'm definitely not going to police anyone's use of things. I just want to keep like the general feel of it. Sabine, how about you?
I played Shadowrun a couple of times, but it was usually, and then the John betrays you. What a plot twist. It happened every time I played Shadowrun. It got old really fast. So I tried another game, but that fell through, and also a character creation was like, what the fuck do you want me to do? Why is this so complicated? Anyway, but I like the vibe of these cyber elves and the dwarven hackers and things like that. That's kind of a fun vibe, right? I'm into that. I can see that is very visual in my mind, like this neon glare, and then you suddenly have this glade, but it's also got drones watching over it, just because, and also there's magic. Whee! So it's a hodgepodge, but sometimes you kind of like a stew, right?
Yeah, I'd go with that. I went through a very kind of intense Cyberpunk 2020 time in the 90s. and so I got an awful lot of that initial Shadowrun stuff just to feed that habit. I've never played Shadowrun, but I do own the 5th edition. Why? I've used it as grist to other mills, I suppose, is what I'd say about it. And yeah, I used to be very purist about it and think, you can't have magic, you can't have elven, edge runners. But it is a fun idea. And in terms of tone, it's one of those things that I think our series needs to be careful about. Is that kind of the risk of the caricature elf?
Yeah, that's a good point. And I think this is something that the game probably has gotten better about. I think there was, like in the early editions, there was a lot of stereotyping of the fantasy races as in a way that probably is a bit problematic these days. I haven't gone back and looked, but that's my general memory of it.
I read some of the novels, and I met a woman once who wrote some of the novels. I never read it, but it was about gay orcs in the military. So, yeah, I mean, you get these things.
Yeah, there's definitely room for more than what the obvious stereotypes that feels like the orc gangers and that sort of thing. Cool. So let's go into the show that we're making. So there's 3 main things. We want to settle on some sort of subject of the show. Are we doing runners, or is this about something else? That sort of thing. Casting guidelines. This is like, do we want, when we cast a character, do we want to use real actors? Do we want to use just unknown faces, like finding a cool picture somewhere of someone who could play this character? Do we want to mix it up? How we feel about that? And then some general ideas about the tone and some themes and types of conflict. If we're doing runners, is like each episode like a procedural, that's their mission, kind of like Leveraged, always has a heist in it, or are we doing something different? And I, just to make it clear, I don't have a strong opinion on any of these. Yeah. So.
Yeah, so where do you want to start? Which question do you want to hit up first?
I think like a general the general subject, I think would be a good thing to settle on here first, because I think some of the other things will flow from that.
Well, I mean, it seems to me that to be creating any kind of cyberpunk series that doesn't focus on the punks, the anti-establishment group, kind of misses the point. I'm not really interested in the corporate machinations at the top of as technology.
Oh no! Yes.
So a death cult as a corporation is always interesting. So I think
as an enemy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think it's got to be a group of Shadowrunners.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool.
So funny that you mentioned Leverage, because I was thinking actually maybe some kind of crew that runs heists. Maybe not the specific crew, the specific theme of Leverage, but a crew that is less into the shoot 'em up and do a ton of wet work, but more like, let's try to trick these mofos.
Yeah, that also seems more interesting. Like you can get into some of the you can do some cool stuff with magic and technology and that sort of thing, like play on the intricacies and interplay between those elements in a more interesting way than just shooting stuff.
So does that give us something to fill in terms of the overview, in terms of tone and themes?
We can definitely move on to those.
Sorry, I'm jumping ahead to series overview. I just saw tone in the box and tone on the table.
Yeah, absolutely. That's. I just realized that I don't have a box for the general like summary of the show, but that's not important. I shouldn't try adding that right now because it's going to mess up everything.
Yeah, that's fine.
I
mean, in terms of casting guidelines, a lot of this is going to require either makeup or some CGI.
Yeah.
So I think we're unlikely to get, I'm not seeing Tom Cruise.
No.
Unless
we're talking real people. This is not an animated show.
Yeah.
My assumption is real people. Yeah.
That's part of the brief. It's a live action show.
Oh, okay. Cool.
But I mean, we can, absolutely. And I think that's, I mean, this is our fantasy casting. We can do whatever we want, but I'm fine with like restricting it to maybe not like the A-list movie actors. They're not going to be interested in this. We'll have to set our sights a little bit lower.
The best we might manage are the odd name guest star.
Yeah.
Who's I'm thinking of the way that in Stranger Things, the bad guy is recognizably somebody, whereas most people when that series started, with one exception, I think, were pretty much unknown. So maybe we keep our eye on possible bad guys to draft in at the top of whichever corporation we decide is this series, significant target, or linking, because I like something to link the individuals with. I like the idea of individual bite-sized jobs, but I'd like to see some arc develop across the series.
Are we talking about people who are in our reality still alive, or are we just like, go wild, let's cast Donald Sutherland as the main villain or something like that?
I'm good either way. I think both can be fun. I do think it's fun to cast like known actors, just because it gives you an immediate in on like, that's what the character is like. But I'm fine with like sticking to the I don't want to say B tier, but like not the A-list movie actors. And I'm also fine with at least stretching the timing a bit if it's someone who recently passed away, or we can use like, I want to use the young version of this actor. That's also fine.
There has to be a young up and coming Donald Sutherland out there.
Yeah. We can't have Christopher Lee, can we? Probably not. Maybe as a voice for a dragon. Come on.
Yeah, that would be good. Cool. So we have some ideas. I feel like we're roughly on the same same wavelength there. Tone wise, do we want this to be grim and gritty? Is it light-hearted? Is it more action oriented? Is it cerebral? What do we think? What do we want there? Is it a mystery show, or is it
Again, I think funny cyberpunk seems an odd pitch.
Yeah.
And so I think it's much easier to make this, some kind, because the environment is gritty, almost post-apocalyptic, but not quite. So I think it's tricky for this to be anything but a bit gritty.
Yeah, but also if it's a heist show, there has to be some sort of humor, right? And also if it's punks, also punks are not people who look grim and brood all the time. But I think, it has to have a serious undertone. Like the stakes are real. If this goes wrong, this goes really wrong.
Yeah. So I was thinking, are these like runners taking jobs? Essentially, are they mercenaries, or are they working for a cause or working for a community? Is, I think, the main options there.
I mean, I quite like the idea of a group of people brought together, and then across a series, you get that whole found family thing, and you set up, so it becomes more than just the money.
Yeah.
They start out as mercenaries, but they end up as
brought together for a job.
Because
that's you need a neat kind of compact season opener or pilot, don't you? You need one that's going to show off each of these key characters doing what they do. I think and then you move on from that, and it's neat if they're relative strangers to one another, because we see the relationships develop rather than arriving as a pre-packed unit. Because there's not a lot, there's less character development, there's less to be revealed in that, isn't it? All right.
Absolutely. I'll add families are built as a theme, because that feels like something we can put in there, or at least maybe that's a theme for the first season. Maybe more than for the show as
fair
a whole.
Fair enough.
But definitely, we can put found family as that's a theme. First season, it's like we're building this family, and that's the thing we're looking at. So we put the tone. I'm just going to put the tone as serious for now. Serious with let's put it as serious.
Serious but not grim. What about that? I say.
That's pretty much it. Yes.
That's good. And I think that's like, because like a light-hearted or comedic moments can come in multiple ways. It can be like it can be something funny that happens in world. It can be a character who makes a joke, like you have the repartee, even if the events are serious, and you can have the show making a joke to the viewer that's not like a joke in world. And that's going to be, I think, almost hard to avoid when you have this like just the fantasy technology contrast is going to lend itself to some comedy that the characters may not find comedic, but that the viewer finds lighthearted or like amusing.
I mean, as a series overview, is this about little people against the big man? If it's
punk, then I mean, if we're talking cyberpunk.
And how do we want to approach that? Because I think that is an obvious theme in cyberpunk. But do we want to frame it as fighting against oppression? Do we want to do it as using the tools of the oppressor against them, or because all of like you can frame it in different ways.
Okay. I mean,
we can leave that for later and just have it, keep it in the back of our minds, and maybe specify it.
I mean, it again, it's bound to be anti-capitalist, isn't it?
Makes sense. Yes.
In some ways, yeah, probably.
Or maybe anti-corporationist.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a better, because there is a sense in which the runners are going to be selling their services,
Mhm.
at least at the start of this.
Yeah. And maybe it would, maybe not for the first season, but maybe in further seasons it may become more anti-capitalist,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
But not at the beginning. At the beginning, this is more about the personal relationships and about banding kind of together to stick it to the big man, to the man.
Stick it to the man. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a theme for you. Stick it to the
Mhm.
man.
Mhm.
That gives the writers plenty of scope on who the man is.
Yeah, but there's a rebellious spirit there to it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Cool. And we've talked about types of conflict a little bit. Like I'm just going to put it now roughly as runs on corporation.
Mhm.
It seems like that's going to be like the core of each episode, maybe, if we're doing that kind of procedural thing. Maybe we end up changing that, but that seems like a for a first draft at least, that seems to be a good thing. And you can always have like the bottle episode or whatever that's
Beach
that
episode. Probably not in the first season, but the beach episode.
Yeah.
Types of conflict. It has to cover all the technology types, doesn't it? So we have to have magical, the BFG, the big fucking gun, the net. All of these have to be on the table, don't they?
Yeah.
Because we're gonna need to have some fairly clear archetypes in this team.
Yeah, we need a hacker and
the hacker, the fixer,
the streets.
Yeah,
and the guy who drives the dog wagon. What are they called?
Riggers.
The ones rigger, exactly, and the wizard.
Yeah,
of course. I mean, what are they called? Key users or something? Key adepts are magic types.
Yeah, adepts. Right? I think that's adepts.
Adepts.
Yeah, but there are all the others.
I think when we start talking about when we right now we're in the pre-game part of the game.
Yeah,
I think we'll have to talk a bit about maybe how big is the core cast here? How big is this team? Because if we decide it's a team of 3, then like some of these will have to double up, or we won't have all of them like in the core team. Because if we're covering all of these, maybe it's an ensemble show with like 7, 8 main characters, and they're maybe not everyone is doing everything on every job, but that's something we can.
We can say that one of them, if we go with 3, and one of them is going with the tech, one of them is going with a smash, and one of them is going with a magic.
Yeah, absolutely. So
we don't have to repeat character classes.
Yeah. Do we want?
The fans will scream, "That's not how a rigger works! This guy is a hacker, not a rigger. How can you do that?"
Yeah, that's why we're not making a real TV show.
Yeah.
That's good for us. Do we want to have magic versus technology as a conflict, or is that something like no? That's not something we're focusing on.
Types of conflict sets it up in a certain way. Ways of solving problems.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got all the options, technology, magic, force, social, face, force, net, and magic are the key tools, aren't they? Yeah. So I'm not sure it's necessarily about a conflict, but it's we want to see the full spectrum of solutions, don't we?
Yeah, I'm not super hot on this whole, the more tech you have, the more soul you lose.
No, exactly.
Yeah. Cool. I'm perfectly happy with leaving that out as well. I think it's a bit tired to like set up those as opposing things. Yeah, I feel like, I should put in some notes on the casting here. No A-tier movie actors except as guest stars. I think that's roughly where we ended. Some anachronistic casting. Okay.
Sorry, at the risk of taking us back a step, to go back to themes.
Yeah, absolutely.
The theme should avoid stereotyping.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Maybe, do we want to put it as avoid stereotypes or subvert stereotypes?
Subvert is better.
Yeah. Subvert or avoid. I mean, we can probably subvert all the stereotypes, but maybe some.
Yeah. But I think it's fun to play against type. I know one of my Shadowrun characters, the one I played the most, I think, was a troll shaman, because trolls don't make good shamans mechanically because because of their stat things. But a troll shaman is cool, so I want to play a troll shaman. Yeah, sorry, that's I want to talk about my character.
No, talk about your character. We're doing a show about your character. I mean, maybe.
Yeah. Cool. I think we have enough detail on like the series overview to start actual play, and we have a bit more time until the hour, so I think we can get started.
Okay.
Cool.
So, like I said, now we'll take turns. And on your turn, you'll choose one of the three general actions: develop the series and season, develop an episode, or develop a scene. And these are not dependent on each other. You can develop a scene for an episode that doesn't have anything else added to it.
One question.
Yeah, absolutely.
When do we decide on the title of the show?
You can do that when you develop. We can do that now if we want to, like, talk about it. Oh, I should say one more thing. I prefer like doing a bit of polling the table and that sort of thing, as opposed to the more like strict microscope way of the player whose turn it is just makes the decisions. But I want to preserve that it's the player whose turn it is has like the final call. So you shouldn't feel, if someone wants to pitch an idea, they can do that, but it's your turn, you have the final call. Yeah, the title of the show, unless someone has an obvious idea, but otherwise that would be part of developing the series. I should
Cool.
I can add that there.
And can we change that? I mean, can we develop a title and then later go and say, this is a bad title. Look, we have this thing here now, and come on, you got to use it.
I think like if you want to change something that we've set, you'll have to like have the consent of the other players. But if everyone's okay with it, then that is absolutely fine. And this shouldn't say title of the season. This should say title of the show series. Yeah, so I'll go through these again just briefly. Develop the series and season. That's when you set things in the green and red boxes, basically. Anything you want to add there, you can. If you want to change something, ask the other players if that's okay. Yeah, that sort of thing. Develop an episode. You pick one of we have 5 episodes, and one is the season premiere, one is the season finale. The others are in between those. That's obvious. And you set some things you want to set about that episode, including you can write scene summaries. Like, I want the first scene to be this. And then you can develop a scene. You pick a scene from, and there's right now there's 3 scenes in every episode. I think that's you get the beginning, middle, and end. That doesn't mean that it's 3 scenes in like a strict screenwriting sense. If you want to have like a post-credit stinger or something, you just add that to the last scene.
Okay.
And then, for when you develop a scene, you add some things to that scene. The main thing usually is plot beats, like events within that scene. The hacker hacks the hacking.
I tell you what, I think we're getting too microscopic. Let's start with a season overview and see where that takes us.
Yeah.
So, Alan, do you want to go first?
Yes, I would like to pitch a synopsis for the first season, which is individuals, talented individuals, and diverse individuals are brought together, and we see initial friction becoming friendship, and even reliance. Relationships are set by the end of the season, ready to be turned over in season 2. ...
Nice.
So, give that a bit more space.
I have another question. When do we decide? When or where do we decide on the main characters of the series?
During play.
Okay.
It's one of the things you can do, and mainly that's through like casting the character. Then you can write on the cast tab. You can add a description about the character and some and that sort of thing. Yeah, I should have been more clear.
Okay, no, that's okay. That's why I said I probably maybe you were and I didn't catch it.
No, I wasn't. I didn't go into it. So, Alan, is there anything more you want to add to the season of the series?
Sorry, I assumed once I put my bit in, somebody else.
You can do one or more of the things.
Okay. Core conflict. The group or the team, actually, let's call them the team, versus a corporation.
A sinister corporation, please.
Well, I'm wondering whether a corporation, whether we want to start this with the corporation being not as sinister as we initially are led, or more sinister than we're led to believe. So
it's still sinister.
A corporation we see revealed to be sinister.
Oh, what are they doing? I'm curious now. What are they doing that is revealed to be, that seems initially maybe even benign, but is actually wow. So are they a medical corporation or something that messes around with people?
Well, you see, the reason I'm curious about this is that there are stereotypes to subvert across the piece, and so on balance, the Native American corporations or governments are generally perceived in the game to be the good guys.
Yeah, but I would avoid not making them the bad guys, because
we're in that territory where because we're going to subvert some other things, aren't we? Oh, I mean,
Yeah.
because it can. We could go back to Ares, the military contractors. I just wonder if that's what do they do with their military contractors? They're a bit obvious as the bad guys. So I suppose I'm looking for a company that might be more. We think that they're trying to repair some ecological damage, but it turns out that the cost of that is not without.
Oh, I have another idea. Maybe some NGO kind of people who go to NGOs and offer them stuff like help with their websites and things like that. But what they're actually doing is gathering data about these whole NGOs and everybody they're helping. Like what China does in Africa right now, helping people, but with all these strings attached.
Okay.
So they might appear to be philanthropic, but yeah, once you've taken their help, they might have an ask or two.
Yeah. But
So
we don't need to. I think this is enough. It's going to be the team versus a corporation who is revealed to be sinister. I think we can we can leave it at that for now, and we can specify later when we may come up with an idea. So, Alan, are you happy with this?
Yeah.
Cool. Sabine.
Yeah. What can I do now? Okay. Let me see. So I can come up with other stuff about the season overview, or can go into the season premiere, right?
You can do any episode. You can start with
but I want to start with the season premiere, please.
Yeah.
So I think this. Okay, let's go with the basics. The team gets screwed by their Johnson. I mean, that's so Shadowrun. Everybody has that experience. Maybe that Johnson actually is played by a very benign-seeming actor, Martin Freeman, for example.
Yeah. Let's. I look up a picture of Martin Freeman. Looking benign.
Is screwed by their Johnson. Who sends them on some sort of a rescue mission, which is actually an abduction, and then they have to turn things around when they realize this, right? That they've been screwed. Maybe that's, well, yeah. I've called the Johnson MF for Martin Freeman, but maybe I should write the Johnson.
I mean, we want to play with the genre. We could call him Philip Johnson.
We could call, I mean, he's Martin Freeman, so he's got to be a guy. Yeah, we could call him Philip Johnson. That's cool. Okay, so I will.
If you put that in the synopsis, I can put him in the guest stars.
Yeah, okay. Oops.
But we'll mess with it by changing the spelling of Johnson.
I've messed the spelling of Philip with 2 L's and 1 P. I'm sorry. Thank you. Johnson, well, how would we write it? Like
well, if it was a proper Mr. Johnson, it would be JOHNSON, but I'm going for JONSSON.
And maybe a Y instead of a Johnson. A Y instead of,
Oh, Johnson.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If you're that's okay, we could do an E. So he might be even Norwegian.
So it would still
Norwegian.
be Johnson, but we pronounce it Johnson.
How do we pronounce this if we were Norwegian?
Well,
if you were Norwegian, you'd pronounce it Jonsen, I think.
Yeah.
So it is close.
Okay.
Jonsen.
Jonsen. Yes.
Okay, so I've added the benign Norwegian contact.
Benign. Please fill in the air quotes. Because they're not air quotes when you fill them in, but they have a name in English. I forget the name.
Yeah,
quotes.
No, that's okay. Quotes, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
We call them in German, we call them goose feet. So.
So we have guest stars.
Yeah. And and then that's the conflict, right? The conflict is with Mr. Johnson. I mean, he's probably not even the main bad guy, but he's the one pulling the strings. So the conflict.
He certainly doesn't appear to be the main bad guy, because why would he be dealing with these, street level operators?
No, but he's betraying them, right?
Yes.
Within that's the main conflict of the first episode, that they get screwed by Johnson and have to figure out how to pay him back, basically, because I don't think they like to be screwed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is this going to require them to take revenge of Mr. Johnson, or is this going to leave them on the hook to Mr. Johnson?
I think what happens is that Mr. Johnson makes them abduct this person, rescue this person, but they realize it's an abduction, so they will, and then they put him in a safe house, which is actually kind of a prison. There might be a troll guarding him, so we have a fight scene there.
Now I think we're getting into some details that need to be explored in the
But I think what they do is they have to screw him, and then turn what was his betrayal back on him. And I don't think they take him out or something. This is more like we screwed you, dude. You screwed up. We screw you.
Yeah,
cool.
But I mean, he's like the job of the Johnson is to be the go-between. Like he's
exactly.
It means that the action is deniable and all of that. But maybe this, like, they realize that he has lied to them. They don't do the job the way he wants them to do it.
Oh,
at least.
That's cool.
Because I mean that's what you've written here. They're not.
Yeah.
They don't do the kidnapping. So that could mean that could mean that he's left high and dry because he put his. Sorry, can you hear me? Is everything?
Yes.
You frozen.
I'm having some connection issues.
Okay. Are you back
yet? You froze, Anders.
You look a little flabbergasted there.
Are we still frozen?
Can you hear us?
Some robotic noises.
Well, that's Shadowrun for you.
But
I think it's this connection, not ours.
Let's see if it gets any better if I take that background away.
We could take a break now. I think it's on the hour.
Let's see if I take some pressure off the signal.
I think that would be at your end. I had a background thing and it ate my bandwidth. Nobody else.
Now I think everything's back to normal.
Hello? Do you hear us?
Yeah. I can hear you.
Yeah.
Do we sound like robots?
Not anymore.
Maybe it was that complicated map.
It could be. No, it's probably just sometimes you get connection issues, and that just happens. But we're on the hour, so I think we should take a break here anyway.
Okay, cool.
Let's take, I don't know, 5 minutes, 10 minutes.
Let's say 7.
7? Yeah.
Yeah, I need a bit of time to get my milk heated. It takes 5 minutes, and I don't like to
Yeah, sure.
super rush
7
myself.
minutes.
Cool.
See you in a bit.
See you.
Cool, we're back. So now it's my turn, and I'm going to develop a scene. I'm going to work a bit on the final scene of the first episode, because we talked a bit about it, and I have some ideas. So I think I'm going to write the summary of this episode. Team meets with Johnson and reveals they know he picked them and they're not playing along with his plan. I think that's the high-level summary. And I think I want to add a couple of plot beats here. I think somewhere here in the middle, Johnson realizes he's screwed and flees because he thinks like, oh, they didn't do the job. Now I'm in trouble with the corporation, and maybe they want to kill me or something. So he runs away, and the team agrees to investigate further, to keep them together. That's like the thing.
Mainly maybe because they still haven't gotten paid for their troubles.
Yeah.
Maybe they also liked each other, kinda, but they wouldn't admit to it in the first episode. Come on.
To put it as for some in order to get paid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Some of them may have other reasons.
Ostensibly to get paid. Maybe they all have
Yeah.
other reasons, but that's what they say because, can't admit that you're out on a quest for justice or something like that. That's
Yeah.
ridiculous. That's not Shadowrun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's what I've got there. So I'll pass the turn on to Alan.
I'd like to write the season finale. The final scene of the season finale is, and I have a bit of dialogue in mind. So Johnson joins them, as they look at the body. You really don't understand what's going on, do you? He says.
So this ends on a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Just correct that spelling. And yeah, no, I'm just content with that.
Okay, cool.
Because now we know where we're going.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm. It's my turn then, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, I'm looking at the season overview and looking at plot arcs. But I also want to do something that gives us a character, like a main character, because we don't have any yet, and I want one. So I think this is maybe, let's do it in episode 2, because if we have 3 main characters, we can focus on each one in between episodes, right? So I think this is about the elven hacker. I want an elf and I want a hacker. So I mean, this is the elven tech guy basically, because we will glom everything together. Like, yeah, he's there supposedly. No, let's make them a he. Let's make him a he. Sorry, he's a hacker. That's what he claims to be, but he can also rig a drone or booby trap a thing or hotwire a car. Anything that has to do with tech, he can hack. Okay, so yeah, and I think he is. I think what he is a little bit. He doesn't really want friends. He's more like he's also not that bad at being social, actually. And he wants these other 2 people, whoever they are, to work with him to uncover what's going on. So he's kind of a bit of the driving force, but he's also got problems. Maybe there will be a problem with his community. Like, he's basically part of a theater club, and they also got screwed in a way that is oddly reminiscent of what happened in the first episode. So they're going to I don't know, help elf hackers theater club against the corporate against someone screwing with them. Whoopsie. Your picture suddenly got way different.
Yeah, I started to get some
Okay.
choppiness, so I figured maybe that will help. I probably should turn off the blur as well.
Okay, and I will put the elven hacker. Oh, there we have.
Sorry,
There
yeah,
we have it.
I searched.
Thank you.
Elven hacker, and that's the only male elven hacker I can find.
That's
The
okay.
female elves are coming out my ears.
Yeah, yeah. That's why I made him a male elf, because subvert expectations. And I think that person, the actor, looks a bit like David Bowie. It's not David Bowie, but he looks a little like David Bowie, or Bowie. I don't know how to pronounce that, but you know who I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now he needs a name. I think I'll go with his street name, and his street name is Pepper. For a character from an old obscure novel called Good Omens. But she's a girl, but who cares? It's not for Pepper Potts. Okay, I think that
check out the
Yeah.
new picture for Pepper.
Yep. I mean, we can.
Strangely, if you type David Bowie as elf, you get quite a lot of offers.
I'm not surprised, honestly. I'm not surprised. I like that looks a little older than you'd usually see an elf, but that maybe he is an older elf. That's fine. We can have an older elf. That is subverting the expectation.
Yes.
An older elf who looks actually old. Cool. Okay, I like that. Thank you. I think I might be done for now. Yep.
Cool. Then it's my turn. I'm still having some choppiness, but it's not. I can hear what you're saying and I can see you, so we'll power through. Yeah. Let's see. Think. Think I want to cast another main character. I'm going to develop this series and season. I'm going to cast. So we have an elf techie. We need someone who can deal with magic and probably. And do we want a human on the crew, or do we just want fantasy?
The producer says we have to have a human on the crew, guys.
And we were talking. Did we say 3 main characters, or do we?
I mean,
we haven't settled on that.
We haven't settled on that quite yet, but the producer says we have to have at least 1 human and 1 person who's really hot.
Yeah.
Can be the same person, but there should be this, right?
I mean, if we adopt this model of episode 2 is about our elven techie hacker rigger, then 3 and 4 about the other 2 members, focus on the other 2 members of the team.
Yeah.
And that allows them to come back together in episode 5. Is 5 the last one? Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm thinking that they are all in each episode. Just focus on that.
We learn something about particular about each one in turn.
I think I want to put a dwarf in there. And I think maybe the dwarf is the magic person then. Just we've kind of flipped the stereotypical dwarf elf thing.
That is going to leave us with a problem for number 3 if that's a human, because we're left with the street samurai.
That can be a human woman who's hot.
The hot human, yeah.
Hot human.
Yeah, we default to Molly Millions from Gibson.
Yeah, I mean, or we could do. Yeah, I mean, on the other hand, a dwarf heavy who's got really big guns and big guns. That could be fun.
Yeah, but I really don't want a woman magic user. I mean, that's so stereotypical. Please, let's not.
I mean, the dwarf could be a woman.
Ooh.
Yeah,
but they're unlikely to be quite as hot as the producers are expecting.
The human dude can be hot, but I argue that I think Rebecca Romijn or whatever the name is pronounced like in the librarians is also basically a street samurai.
Yeah,
and the hitter, and she's hot as hell.
Yeah,
and she's not A-list. You might be able to afford her.
I'm going to go with. No, I think I want a dwarf magic user.
Yeah, go for it.
So I'm just going to put dwarf, and I think I don't remember. Are they called mages or wizards? The non-shaman.
Well, that's an interesting one. If you make him a shaman, that's because then he can actually be a native from one of the Native American tribes. So we can get all that, cultural appropriation in.
And how would that not become cultural appropriation in the series? Come on.
I'm struggling a bit.
Yeah.
But
we're going to do it the right way.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
No, I think I want to steer clear of that just because I don't know enough to have that work out properly.
I think we can have a side character who is Native American and will help the characters maybe, and who may be playing a bigger part in later on seasons when the people have gotten used to them.
I'm gonna go with a mage,
Ooh.
and I think let's go with him for this dwarf mage. I'm sure I can find an image, but I think I want to have an actor for this. I mean, we can do trickery. Let's see. I'm going to look at some portraits. I'm going to give him a street name. Ooh. Trigger. Does that work? I'm going to find a picture and character. So we can, Alan, you can take your turn while I'm looking. I need to find some inspiration.
But yeah, you're right. Richard Armitage does do a good dwarf. So yeah, where do I want to go after this? I think we have to go with the third character, don't we? So this is going to be the human street samurai. We'll go with she, her as a hold. And I think I want her called Millie. And I think she's going to be the focus of episode 3. We discover why Millie does what she does. ... Maybe a younger sibling or the infirm relative needs particular medicine. And we see her recruit the team to get some. Yeah, and I've put a picture of Millie in the yeah, Ian McShane would make a good dwarf. You're right.
Yeah, I went with Ian McShane. I found a picture where he has at least a short beard, and I think that's that works for him.
Because maybe as a mage, he often burns his beard because but it grows back really quickly.
Yeah.
He's played a dwarf. I'm trying to remember in what.
Ian McShane has played a dwarf?
Yeah. Okay. Hang on. Oh yes, Snow White.
Oh no.
Yeah, apparently.
Okay.
Yeah. So he has.
Cool. So that was your turn, Alan. It's Sabine. Oops.
Oh,
Alan
oops.
disappeared.
Whoopsie. I think he got stolen by the dwarf. Okay, so I need to find the character keeper or the Google sheet again. Okay. Cool. What else are we going to do? Maybe confirm these party. Yeah. So we still don't have plot arcs.
Sorry, I thought that StreamYard was sitting on one of my web browser tabs. So I closed off Ian McShane as a dwarf and lost you all.
See, I said it was the dwarf's fault. Okay, so would a plot arc tell us who the big bad is, or can we do that as a recurring motif?
I mean, a plot arc for the season would be like discovering who the big bad is. Could be.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Discovering how deep the conspiracy goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And I think the recurring motif is maybe oh yeah, it's a jingle. Like, you know, these corporate jingles that you get with some corporations, they have their own kind of song. And the more erudite of our fans have noticed by episode 3 that this jingle keeps playing whenever something is going to be sideways for the characters.
Yeah,
So,
that's cool.
yeah. Okay.
Cool.
Yep.
You
Okay.
happy there?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Then it's my turn. I think. Ooh. I think in episode 3, because we're focusing on Millie, who is our street samurai, I think we want a big action scene.
Yeah.
I think we'll make that the middle scene. The team ends up in violent situation with some corporate security and have to fight their way out. And I think this should take place in they're because they're getting some medicine. I think they're in an underground lab. That's the location. And I think one of the plot beats here is, well, I mean, it's a bit done, but a hallway fight is kind of cool.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. I mean, a hallway fight with one heavy is cool, but if you have a hacker and a mage added to it, it gives it a different vibe, right?
A bunch of found a bunch of security goals. That's one of the things there. I think I'm happy there. So Alan.
I want to go all the way back to the premiere scene 1. And I do enjoy an opening where we can end up at the end of that scene saying 6 hours earlier.
Oh, yeah. A cold open.
Yeah. So I'm thinking that we're in medias res. We see each of the team displaying their thing. But at the end of the scene, we get a 6 hours previously. Because what I'd like to have is a series of plot beats that says, there is our techie working a building security system. We have our mage offering magical interference with local surveillance. And we have our street samurai making the entry to rescue the MacGuffin. And at the end of the scene, we have the MacGuffin thinks she's there to kill him. She says, no, it's okay. We're the good guys. And he or she says, what do you mean? I don't need any good guys. I'm fine. So, and then we get 6 hours previously. So I think what we're setting up here is a flashback in scene 2 to the meeting where Jonsson, the Norwegian, describes the job, and then scene 3 logically is about what do they do from we return to I don't need any help, come back after the commercial break. We need to decide what the team have done with the MacGuffin, if anything. And then most of scene 3 is confronting Jonsson. Yeah?
Makes sense. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's cool. Oh, and I think there should be some alarms blaring while Millie has the discussion with the MacGuffin, right? Just to make clear that this is a dangerous situation.
Mm-hmm.
Let me add signs of tension and time running out. ...
Cool.
Yeah, so it's our mage, connecting and saying, look, I can hold this off for a few minutes more, but they're going to start noticing. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Cool. Sabine.
Oh, okay. Me. Huh. I was too entranced by this scene. Scene 1, scene 2, and scene 3. Okay. I think. What's the thing that's happening with Crash? Oh, he's not called Crash now.
Yeah,
Okay.
I renamed him because Trigger and Pepper were a bit too similar.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. So I think I want this. This is the one centering on Crash, who's our mage. And I think at this point, this is a bit of a turning point, I think, because this time they're not asked to do something. This time is they're finding something and they decide to investigate mainly on their own, not because somebody offers cash, but because maybe Trigger is like, no, we need to get behind this. There's something going on, and look, I've helped you too, right? I've helped you too with your problems. Now help me here. And yeah.
Yeah, maybe he's discovered something magical,
Yeah.
some occult connection
Yeah.
between the things they've been doing.
Yeah, and I think I can do another thing, right? I think in scene 2 we'll have tensions between the characters, because this time they're not in there for money, and they have to figure out what they actually want to do with this, and they're all kind of like I think just tension between the characters.
Yeah, what about it's not a running joke, but it's a running complaint that, something has to happen in episode 1 that it's not clear if it's anybody's fault.
Mm-hmm.
And then they've got something to be complaining about. You've got friction between them.
I think this is more serious, because I think one of them, and I think it's Pepper, has been taking side jobs for the corporation they're investigating.
Right.
And
Okay.
that's the tension point where it's like, what the fuck have you done? And maybe the only way they get out of this is because people with guns storm the room. That's probably a good point for ninjas with guns to.
If in doubt, somebody kicks in the door.
Yeah, right. Or somebody pings their security system or something. And I think the weird corporation is called Silver Linings, whatever that means.
Okay.
I think that is very, very ambiguous as to what they actually do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in scene 3, the tension will at least be temporarily addressed and addressed basically. Maybe resolved, at least for now. Yes, that happens in scene 3. That's not all that happens, but maybe it gets resolved by Pepper pointing out that now he has access and can find something for them. By Pepper choosing sides, basically.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, you happy there?
Okay, yeah, I'm happy there.
Yeah, I went looking for a theme song, so I'm going to develop a season, and I picked The Hand That Feeds, 9 Inch Nails. I just copy in the chorus. Apropos. Oops, that looks terrible. Let's see, can I just paste in the text? Oh, what crap. Well, I'll type it in later.
Can you put it into the side chat here so we can actually look at it?
Sorry? Now it's
Can you put the link into the side chat here in StreamYard?
Yeah, absolutely. I just looked up the lyrics somewhere. It's mainly the chorus that feels fitting. And I think maybe there's something else. I think I'll add a theme to the season of choosing to do the right thing. I feel like that's something we've been heading towards.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm happy there. Alan.
Yeah, I'm just adding some stuff to scene 2, the original season premiere, scene 2, original meeting with Johnson, where he pitches a job which is clearly very different from what they discover. It's obvious the teams don't plot beats. The team don't know one another, or what they've heard about one another isn't complementary. Some doubt as to whether they'll work together, but Janssen offers a lot. Maybe he hints at why they need a lot. Don't know. Maybe there's something in what he says that leads us into those individual, well, not individual, but those episodes where we see a little bit of the background and we think, he knew about that. Aha, we go. And then, I want to poll the table here. What do the team do after they discover that our MacGuffin doesn't need rescuing and this is actually a kidnap?
Yeah, I think one of them will be really like, no, nobody is fucking with us like that. And somebody else is like, yeah, let's take this guy because he's clearly important to someone, and let's stash him somewhere. Let just to see what, just to give us some leverage.
I think the trouble with stashing him is that we're going to have to find. We then have to deal with him later on. Now, is he the body?
At
That's
the
in,
end. Oh
yeah.
yes, I love that.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
thinking. I was thinking maybe if we lean into like the fantastical aspect, maybe one of them, maybe they use some sort of magical disguise or something
Mhm.
to make Johnson believe that they have brought him there so they can get paid, but then
Mhm.
they reveal that, oh, it's we tricked you, you tricked us, we tricked you.
Mhm. Yeah.
Maybe that's
So
could be.
just unpack that for me.
Yeah, they realize that, oh, this person, we're not rescuing someone. We've been sent to kidnap this person. They decide
Mhm.
not to do that.
Mhm.
They go to the meet with Johnson, with one of them or a third or a fourth, whatever, another person magically disguised to look like the person they
Okay.
were supposed to kidnap.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then we can start
Yeah.
spending this special.
Yeah, the special effects budget.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, okay. But what happens to the MacGuffin? Do they just leave them there? Because that seems like it could be dangerous, right? Because somebody sent them to kidnap this dude.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. That's
Well,
either
yeah. I mean, this is not a rescue.
No,
So if they kidnap him,
no,
because
they don't have to kidnap him. They have to warn him and say, "Come with us if you want to live." For copyright reasons, they can't probably use that phrase, but you know what I mean. Or maybe that dude is like, hey, wait a minute, you've been sent to kidnap me and now you're just going to leave me? No. I'm coming with you.
Yeah,
You
that,
gotta
that could be
protect me
one
now.
thing. He could the MacGuffin could become like a side character.
Yeah. Yeah.
oh, in
Or
which case it's not his body
Yeah. Maybe
in
not.
the last.
could still be, or they warn the MacGuffin so that they can take off and hide somewhere. Or this could be like a time sensitive thing, like if they don't get grabbed right now, then they're not important anymore. But I mean, if it's for some magical purpose, it could be like keyed into that. That sounds a bit far-fetched. So
Yeah.
either they come with them or run away and hide somewhere.
Yeah. And if they run away and hide, then they could be the body at the end of the whole thing.
Yeah, and I think that's neater.
We don't have to say. I like the idea that we use the magical special effects. And so what we can do is you cut that scene where he says, I don't need rescuing.
Yeah. And then we see
and
them.
then you cut to the meet with Johnson, where
Yeah.
they appear to have him. Because they want the penny and the bun here, don't they?
Yeah.
We don't need to know what they do with him at this point, or her, the MacGuffin. All we need to know is, are they going to get paid? And if so, how? And some kind of magical effect that lasts long enough for them to get paid. It gives the dwarf something to do. And yeah, so yeah, okay. So in this last scene, then Johnson realizes he's screwed and flees. That really doesn't fit now, does it? Because we want them to get paid. He needs to think he's got the right person.
Yeah, but he only needs to think he's got the right person long enough for him to fork over the money.
Okay.
For him to realize that what he's got was actually a cat or something like that.
Okay, so
disguised like. a
Okay,
person.
so it's not.
Oh, it's a robot. It's a robot. We disguise the robot as they disguise the robot as a person. And
Okay.
once the spell ends, he looks at that, and the robot says, "Do you care for some tea, sir?" or something like that. Sorry about the
So
British stereotype.
so arrive at the meet with the MacGuffin.
Mhm.
Little social interaction. The team want to get paid and get out for reasons that we don't know as the audience yet.
Yeah.
But we're about to discover that that's because the spell's going to wear off.
Wouldn't the robot be very expensive?
Well, not if it's one of the wait staff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Ooh.
they just kept a wait staff robot at Starbucks or
Yeah.
whoever pays for the product.
So
placement.
they get paid and leave when Johnson. Now, Johnson knows that this is a kidnap.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
there has to be a way to get this person from the team to whoever's commissioned the kidnap.
Yeah. Yeah, and
So Johnson has to have some heavies, doesn't he?
does he? He can just call someone and the heavies show up, and then.
Well, I'm just thinking, if the team leave.
I think we get into the nitty gritty too much here.
Okay. When they get paid to leave, when Johnson pulls a gun on the victim and says, "Okay, come with me," the MacGuffin says, "I'm sorry, sir. Staff are not allowed to leave the building." And the spell evaporates.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good.
To reveal a robot waiter. ... Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
What we don't have is an opportunity then for the team. What do we have an end of episode team moment? Because we've got the team agrees to investigate further for some in order to get paid. They've got paid.
Yeah,
Right.
that's not ideal. Maybe though they got paid. I mean, you don't get paid in cash.
Oh,
Shadowrun, right? Yeah. Okay. Talk, Alan.
Okay. Cut to the team in their vehicle with the MacGuffin with them, and he's saying, "I need to know what's going on." Yeah.
And maybe we see at Pepper's screen those shiny little numbers that they got, right?
Yes.
In red.
Yeah, because it's cred sticks, isn't it?
Yes, cred sticks, and if you, and maybe they were always meant to get screwed on this job.
Cut to the team driving away in what's our elf's name? I've forgotten. Pepper. In Pepper's rig. Mm-hmm. They agree to find out why the MacGuffin is valuable and to whom. ... Does that keeps the spirit of that of that endpoint? Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, we just written the season premiere. Congratulations, ladies and gentlemen.
Well done. Whew.
I've forgotten whose turn it was. Was this Alan's turn or
That was my
That
very
was-
elongated turn where I made the
yeah.
mistake of pulling the table. That'll teach
Yeah,
me.
well, I mean,
No. I don't have a problem with it. I just
that
forgot.
was, I think, a good call. How are we supposed to do all the episodes? Because I feel that my brain is actually,
we'll do as much as we have time for.
my brain is actually flagging right now.
Yeah. And we're about to we're due for a break anyway. So we'll take a break. After that, we'll assess if we want to continue. We'll do that. Otherwise, we'll just wrap it up and do some
Stars and
feedback.
wishes and
Yeah.
other stuff. Yeah, okay.
That works for me.
We'll see 5 minutes.
Yeah, okay.
Cool. See you in 5.
See you in a minute.
Work is quite a lot.
Yeah. I'm feeling the same. This is I'm getting close to my bedtime anyway, old man that I am. So I'm happy to call it here. I feel like we've at the very least sketched out the season. So I feel like we have we have produced. No, that's I'm tired. I'm saying silly things.
You were a little choppy here. We didn't hear it.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. No, I think we've come to at least a satisfying conclusion.
Yeah.
Cool. So I had put some questions in the original email that I don't remember anymore. So I need to look those up.
I've found the email and it's also open, so I can ask them.
I can see them.
Yeah, please do.
Do you miss playing out scenes? I didn't precisely miss it, but I think it might have relieved the cognitive load a little.
Yeah, that's probably true. I don't know, because there's quite a lot of detail in those scene descriptions.
Yeah.
Playing it out you could almost, if you play it out, you kind of need to go without or have much less in plot beat, visuals, dialogue, needle drops.
Because that would develop during the scene. You would start with a plot beat and then say, okay, play this, and then you wouldn't have to come up with these things because they would arise organically. I don't know if that is. I mean, I like the way Alan did this, but as I said, this is like a lot. So I think it needs breathers between the scenes between the creation stuff.
Yeah.
Could you make it more organic by having somebody says, where does the scene start and what is the end point of the scene, and then play the characters between, so you're almost working out what the plot beats and what key points of dialogue while you play the scene.
Yeah, that's possible. Like in standard microscope, you have a question you're answering, and you play out the scene.
Maybe that's what I'm because it is intense.
Yeah. What I liked was pulling the table. I think that helps.
Yeah.
But it also pulls in everybody who has to think now and has to keep up with Alan thinking. I mean.
Yes.
Yeah, you don't get to relax and step back and observe while the others are taking their turns. But I think it's also more intense because we're just 3 players. So there's not.
That is possible. Yes.
Maybe.
Yeah. But I mean, I like the fact that we were all involved with the thing. That was what I'd never actually loved about Microscope, that somebody just had to do the thing and then somebody else had to do the thing.
Mhm.
And I like it better if you were all doing the thing.
Yeah, that's true. Because you can't relax at all, can you? Because you're thinking, oh right, shit, right, okay. How are we going to get there? So
yeah, you know, that's why the writers in the room get paid the big bucks. Probably don't, but yeah, okay. I think they have more time than we did, because I mean, this was a very tight timetable to plot out an entire season of 5 episodes.
Yeah,
I mean, honestly.
that's what I wonder, whether it's very ambitious. Because
I mean, to speak to that, this is just, I've set up a 3-hour block, and we'll just do however much we can. The point isn't to fill out everything, it's just to do as much as especially at least for these playtest sessions. It's but it also gives me a feeling for roughly how much time it would take if you did want to do the whole thing. And personally, I don't think it's necessary to like fill out every scene and all of that. It's more like the exercise is to get a feel for like doing the large scale plotting and diving into details where you find the interesting details. But sorry, I should get back to observing and letting you answer the question.
I mean, you're the designer. It's totally fair if you get a say in this.
So I don't think I missed playing the scenes, because they were kind of playing in my head. And the game facilitator in me enjoys indulging the control freak that isn't bound by the vagaries of what players will do with the starting prompt.
Yeah.
You know, I'm reminded.
See, I'm the total opposite. I would love to see what players do with a prompt, because that gives me the leeway to lean back and just prod them. Like,
exactly.
Here you go.
But I was having, at one point, I had a vaguely traumatic flashback to the 10,000 words I wrote for a Han World campaign, which was plotted down to the scene. You know, in this scene, this will happen.
Oh, Alan.
I know. It was a long time ago. Long time ago.
I get you.
You know, my name is Alan Reese. I'm a recovering trad gamer.
Okay. I mean, I might have done stuff like that myself, not quite as intense, but because I was always like, I didn't say in the scene this has to happen.
No, I wrote the script, and then people had to follow it.
No, I just wrote out 25 pages of a serial killer plot.
Okay.
With,
I would just do things like write 2 pages on a 2-page summary of the major what do you call it? Major types of religious philosophy in the fantasy world I was setting up.
I mean, who didn't? Who didn't really?
So the next question: do you prefer that turn structure or the simplified version here? I think I quite like the simplified. It is very open, and that again is going to take some, for me. That takes some of the cognitive stuff. It builds the cognitive. It makes the load heavier, because I'm not just having to think what's happening. I'm having to answer the initial question of, you know, am I operating this level, that level, or that level?
But you always have to do in Microscope. You have to do that as well, don't you?
I suppose so.
I mean, maybe just having to do one thing and not being able to do 3 scenes in a row, that might might limit the whole cognitive thing, because then
Yeah.
somebody else would have to do, because only we're rushing through all 3 scenes of this, like, oh, and this happens and this, and then happens,
yeah.
this happens, and this, no, this can't happen
Yeah,
because it
you're
won't
quite
make
right.
sense.
Yeah, no, you're quite right. I was scripting
Mhm.
episode 1,
Mhm.
and I think
Yeah,
that
maybe putting a limit on how
Yes.
many things you can do.
Yeah.
yeah.
Maybe 1 or maybe
Um,
2 or so, but I think 2 isn't. Or maybe you can do 3, but not 3 of the same, right?
Yeah,
I mean, the trouble is, how do you do plot beats one at a time?
Yeah, I mean, one thing is that we don't need to have all the plot beats for a scene. We can just because if you have the synopsis, then you know like roughly what's going to happen in the
Exactly.
scene, and you can just take 3 of them,
Yeah.
3 things, and you can just I know this thing is going to happen, and then when it comes back to your turn again, maybe someone else has added a plot beat, or maybe you
Fair
will
enough.
continue there. But
I mean,
if you do fewer things, it will also come back to your turn faster, so you can.
Yeah. That's probably true.
Yeah,
But you also
and
have
I mean,
time to think about it.
yeah, and I mean, Anders did we have a hallway fight. This is not clear why we have a hallway fight. We just have a hallway fight. That's in this scene. And I was like, in the scene, they have tensions. I don't know how they came there, and how I don't particularly know how they actually resolved that. But that's what I wanted. I wanted tension in the team.
Yeah.
So that's the beat. And what
Um,
actually happens down to the minutia of camera and lighting, that I don't particularly care about that.
and maybe is there an issue with using the terminology, plot beats, visuals, dialogue? Do you need that, or do you want a summary of what happens in the scene?
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I really enjoyed the detail.
Yeah. For me, I think partly this is just to get the 1, 2, 3 structure, kind of microscope. That's part of it. But I felt also that just writing a scene summary, and then you come up with these ideas like, oh, I want this specific thing to happen. Then you need to have somewhere to put that.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
That's my thinking behind it.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, in terms of the question, where's it gone? Do you feel like polling the table being part of the game helps or hurts? I think it helps.
Yeah, me too.
You know,
that's what I really liked.
It's a tricky boundary between empowering the individual and seeking collaboration. And maybe, I don't know how you police that or get the balance of that different.
I think that's just it's a table thing. You just have to have players who can trust each other. But when I'm playing, the few times I've played Microscope like standard without polling and everyone is just doing their thing, I'm always worried that I'm going to, I have this cool idea, but I'm not sure if it's going to land right, or someone else has a really cool idea, and I have just, if we could just turn that a little bit, it would be much better. It would work much better for me. So I'm just that's how I like to do this sort of thing.
Yeah, fair enough.
More of the direct collaboration than and that's
I prefer that. Even in Microscope, if somebody says, okay, I have this idea, I want to do this, anybody has a better idea? Because sometimes you're stuck, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do we got left? Is something missing? Is anything unnecessary? There's an implied understanding, I think, maybe of some screenwriting ideas.
Yeah.
What is a plot beat?
Hmm.
It's a thing that happens. Is the only way I can think of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
what I think was missing is a way to introduce the main characters. We did it at some point, but it felt a little weird to start the series without this clear idea about who the series was actually about. I think that there might be a point in time where you have to basically say this is the people who this is about. At least some of them. You can add more later, but some of them. So you have a shape in your head who is interacting with all your plot beats.
Yeah, at one point I thought casting notes was going to be that.
Yeah.
And maybe it should be, because it's I think probably more important at that stage to know who it's about, as you say, Sabine, than it is to be thinking about whether it's A-list, B-list, or C-list.
Yeah.
It's about characters rather than casting.
Yeah.
So maybe that bit is actually principal characters.
Oh, I realized we didn't give this thing a name, so I just found a random name generator.
Oh, go on.
And it suggested, I have several. It has Neon Veil. It has Razor District, Chrome Spire, Echo Alley, Phantom Nexus, or Silicon Shadows. Silicon Shadows shows up because it's Shadowrun.
That might work. Yeah.
Okay, so since we don't have anything else, and since I don't think we want to overdo this, and I think that might be actually a thing you could do if you put these things up. Make a link to a random name generator for titles.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that's often a good idea, because people will be like, oh, and sometimes something's jump out.
Yeah, I mean, I had fun, but I feel tired after that. And again, that may be because it's been a long week, but yeah, I think that it's demanding of the players.
Yes.
And that's not a bad thing, but I think that maybe 2-hour bite-sized pieces rather than 3-hour bite-sized pieces might be the optimum time. I mean, to be honest, I'm wondering about that because I'm playing in Dominic's Lovecraft-esque at the minute, which he set up as a 3-hour one-shot, and in fact, it's probably a 2-hour two-shot because we didn't get it done. I know I was beginning to flag at the end because I was just thinking, God, there's too many plates spinning now. So I think maybe it's a two-shot, with 2 hours a shot. That might ease some of that load.
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe just scheduling shorter sessions. And this is like I haven't the 5 episodes I felt was the minimum to be able to make it feel like an arc. That sort of thing. I mean, if we
I think that's a good choice. I think it's a good choice. 5 episodes is a good choice for an arc. I mean, I don't know. That would be a long movie instead of a TV show.
Yeah, no, I'd agree.
I will make a version that's also about writing a movie, but that's I want to make this work properly first. But yeah, reducing, like putting a limit on how many things you do on your turn. I think that's that sounds like a good thing, and aiming for slightly shorter play time is probably good as well.
What else? No, I think that would be, yeah. I think that's probably kind of sensible advice at this point in the proceedings.
Cool. Thank you very much, and thank you for playing. Are you
No,
okay with me sharing the recording?
Yes, yes, yes. I like the game. To be clear, I like the game.
Yeah.
It was fun. I like the series we created.
Exactly. I want to play this game now.
Yeah.
I you know,
Maybe
I
not with Shadowrun.
no, well,
per
maybe not with
se.
Shadowrun. It must be said. No, fair point.
Yeah, same.
But you could definitely play this with the sprawl, couldn't you?
I think so. Yeah.
Spot
Or
on.
Cyberpunk or something.
Oh, even Cyberpunk, I think. 2077. No.
Okay. No, not Cyberpunk 2027. Cyberpunk without the vaults.
Oh, right. Okay. Oh, that's yeah. 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 This is what the future holds for us. Fewer vowels.
No more umlauts.
Okay.
So many
Okay.
vowels. Yeah.
And so little time.
Thanks for thanks for playing, and I hope to see you all soon.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thanks for facilitating.
Yeah.
and
Thanks for that,
creating this.
Andish. Cheers,
Bye.
guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.